At 7:14 on a Friday morning in Toledo, Ohio, before the coffee finishes dripping, a pharmacy technician opens her banking app and moves exactly $50. Not 55, not whatever's left, 50. She's done this every payday for 14 months. Same time, same amount, same silence. She has never mentioned it to anyone. And here's the part that should get your attention. This woman takes home $2,380 a month, which every piece of financial advice you've ever heard says is too little to save anything. And she is currently 3 full months of survival ahead of her own life, on her way to a year. $50. There is a rule hiding inside that number, a specific, teachable 3-move rule, and by the end of this video, you'll have all of it. But I'm going to make you sit with the mystery for a few minutes first, because the reason this rule works has almost nothing to do with math, and if I hand it to you before you understand that, you'll do what most people do with good advice: nod, agree, and never start. My name is William, and the part that should genuinely bother you is this. Almost every piece of savings advice in existence was written for people with leftovers. Save 20% of your income. 20% of what exactly? When the rent, the car, the insurance, and the groceries have already spoken, 20% of nothing is a number, and the number is 0. The advice industry keeps handing out percentage plans to people whose problem was never the percentage, and then acts surprised when they quit. Percentages are for people with leftovers. What I'm going to show you is for everyone else. So before any mechanics, the feeling, because the feeling is not your fault. If you've ever opened a savings calculator, typed in your real numbers, seen "you will reach your goal in 11 years" and quietly closed the tab, that wasn't weakness. That was a sane response to advice that wasn't built for your paycheck. If you've started a savings plan 3 separate times and watched all 3 die by the second month, you didn't fail 3 times. The plan did. It catches good people with good intentions over and over, and it caught the woman in Toledo too. Twice before she found the thing I'm about to show you. And the timing matters, because 2026 is a brutal year to be one paycheck from the edge. The Federal Reserve's own household survey keeps finding that nearly 4 in 10 American adults couldn't cover a $400 emergency with cash. Bankrate puts it even sharper. Fewer than half of us could handle a $1,000 surprise without borrowing. And researchers at the J.P. Morgan Chase Institute found something most advice ignores completely. For lower-income households, income itself swings by double-digit percentages month to month. The paycheck isn't just small, it's moving. Any plan that assumes a calm, predictable surplus is a plan written for somebody else's life. Which brings me back to Toledo. Her name, for our purposes, is Renata, 33, pharmacy technician, 11 years in, take home $2,380 a month, paid every other Friday. And 18 months ago, Renata's financial life had a very specific texture. Maybe you'll recognize it. Not poverty exactly, precision. Every dollar assigned, every month a landing you had to stick. The $12 of slack that decides whether the week ends calm or tense. The specific dread of the car making a new sound. One night, a Tuesday, 11:52 p.m., she sat at her kitchen table doing the math on a $65 school field trip form, moving numbers between columns like furniture in a room that's too small. $65, and it took restructuring the whole month. That was the night she admitted the thing out loud. One missed paycheck, and everything falls.
Now, the rule. And the rule does not come from a bank, an app, or a finance degree. It comes from her uncle. Sal set tile for 31 years. Kitchens, lobbies, one hotel pool he never stopped bragging about. And Renata once asked him how he could stand working on floors that took months to finish. He looked at her like she'd asked something foolish and said, "I've never set a floor in my life. I set the next tile." He didn't think about the lobby. The lobby was none of his business. His business was one tile, level and true, and then, only then, the one after it. 31 years of that, and behind him, acres of finished floor. Renata went home from that conversation, sat down with the wreckage of her second failed savings plan, and asked herself the question that built everything you're about to learn. What is my tile? Here's why that question matters more than any calculator. Her failed plans, both of them, had the same shape, a giant number at the end and a monthly demand in the middle. Save $500 a month, build $20,000. And a Chicago economist named Richard Thaler spent a career documenting what brains actually do with money. We don't treat it as one pool. We sort it into mental accounts, and we treat huge distant goals very differently than small present actions. The giant number doesn't motivate. It votes against you. Every month, you look up at 20,000 from 300, and the gap does the talking. Big plans don't die of math. They die of the view. So the rule she built has 3 moves, and I'll name them now, then spend the rest of this video proving each one. The brick, the conversion, the ceiling. Together, they are the $50 rule. And no, it is not save $50 a week. If it were that, this would be a 30-second video, and you'd have quit by March. Here is the $50 rule. Move 1, the brick. A brick is $50, and a brick is the only unit your emergency fund is allowed to exist in. Not a year of savings, not $20,000. Renata sat down and found her true survival number. Rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, transport, the phone, nothing else. And it came to $1,700 a month. A year of survival, $20,400. She wrote that number down exactly once, divided it by 50, and then never looked at it again. 408 bricks. 408. And from that day forward, her entire savings life was one automated move. Every other Friday at 7:14 a.m., before coffee, before feelings, before the month could object, 1 brick, $50, moved automatically. The discipline happened once on the day she set up the transfer. The machine handles the mornings. Move 2, the conversion. This is the engine, and it's the part everyone misses. The payday brick is just the heartbeat, steady, small, alive. The real construction happens when money gets freed or found. Renata canceled a storage unit she'd been avoiding thinking about, $89 a month. Under the rule, freed money doesn't dissolve into the month. It converts. 1 brick, laid the same day, every month, forever, with her name on the reason. Her tax refund landed, $1,140. Thaler's research has a warning for exactly this moment. Windfalls get sorted into the fund money account in your head and evaporate at double speed. The rule's answer? A 24-hour capture window. Within 1 day, that refund became 22 bricks, laid, counted, gone from temptation's reach. A side shift covering a coworker's weekend, 2 bricks. The insurance refund nobody expects, 1 brick. 39 cents left over for the joy of it. The conversion is how a $50 habit builds at a $400 pace. Move 3, the ceiling. This is the strange one, and it's the one that saves your life in month 5. Under the $50 rule, you are never allowed to make a savings decision bigger than $50. Ever. No, let me put in $300 this month, I'm feeling strong, because the same ambition that puts $300 in on a good month is the ambition that quits entirely on a bad one. The ceiling keeps the plan boring, and boring is the point. You lay a brick, or you lay a few bricks, one decision at a time, and on the months when the card does make that sound and there are no bricks at all, here's what the rule does that percentage plans cannot. Nothing breaks. A percentage plan misses a month and dies of shame. A brick wall just waits. The wall doesn't judge. The wall is exactly as tall as it was, and the next brick is exactly $50, same as always. You don't save a year, you lay a brick. Now, I can hear the objection from here, and it deserves a straight answer, so let's have it out loud. William, $50 is nothing. At this rate, the year takes forever. Both halves of that, honestly. Yes, the full 408 bricks at Renata's real pace lands just under 4 years from the day she started. I won't dress that up. But here's the part the objection misses, and it's the entire reason this rule exists. An emergency fund doesn't have to be finished to be working. Renata banked her first full month of survival, 34 bricks, $1,700, in month 4. Month 4. That's the month the 11:52 p.m. math sessions ended. By month 14, 3 full months stood behind her, and the specific fear that used to live in the sound of her own car had nowhere left to sit. The year is the destination. The panic dies in the first mile. A fund isn't finished to be working, and if you're waiting to feel safe until the whole wall is done, you've misunderstood what walls are for. Every course of bricks is shelter. Let me pause here because we've stacked a lot on the table. The rule, in one breath, one automated $50 brick every payday, Everything freed or found converts to bricks within 24 hours, and no savings decision ever bigger than $50. Small unit, greedy capture, hard ceiling. That's the whole machine. The rest of this video is what happens when two people with the same paycheck treat that machine very differently. Quick pause on the video itself. This channel exists because most money advice is written for people with slack, and the honest version, the version for real paychecks, mostly doesn't get made. If you want more of it, subscribing is how you vote. And do me one favor in the comments. Tell me your brick, your real survival number, divided by 50, the honest count, not the fantasy one. I actually read those. Now, Renata had a coworker. Her name, for our purposes, is Paulette. Same pharmacy, same years in, take home within $40 of Renata's. I'm keeping them nearly identical on purpose, because the difference between these two women is not $1 of income. 14 months ago, they talked about money on a lunch break, and both of them started saving that same week. Paulette did what the internet told her, picked the impressive number, $500 a month, and attacked. And for 2 months, she made it, and it felt like being a new person. Month 3, her hours got cut, and the plan missed. Month 4, catching up meant $1,000, and the math laughed at her. She quit, quietly, the way plans die. No announcement, just a transfer that stopped happening. She restarted in the spring. Same plan, same wall, same ending. She's on her 3rd restart now, and her savings account this morning reads a number I'll just say rhymes with 0. Renata's decision, back on that lunch break, looked small, $50 small. It was not. And if Paulette's story stung, if you counted your own restarts somewhere in that paragraph, good. Don't scroll past that sting. It's not an accusation, it's a diagnosis, and it arrived free. The plans didn't fail because you're weak. They failed because they were load-tested for a life smoother than yours. That sting is the last useful thing the percentage error will ever give you. There's a moment from Renata's month 11 I want you to have, because this is what the middle of the wall feels like. Her brakes went, the real thing, the grinding, the number you don't say out loud, $380. And she stood at the shop counter, paid it, got her keys, and drove home. And it wasn't until she was pulling into her own street that she noticed what hadn't happened. Nothing. No spiral, no midnight table, no furniture-moving math. 7.5 bricks came off a wall that held 4 months of them, and the wall just absorbed it. She told her sister it was the most expensive, boring afternoon of her life. That's the product, by the way, not the 20,000. The boring. The quiet in the title of this video is not a decoration, it's the deliverable. 2 honest edges before the finish. First, the carve-out. If your income genuinely sits below your survival line, if the math is negative before any brick exists, then the $50 rule is not a shame instrument, and laying bricks is not your first move. Income is. Benefits you've earned, hours, rates, the harder conversation, that's a different video, and pretending a savings habit fixes an income gap is exactly the kind of advice this channel exists to not give you. Second, where the bricks live matters more than people think. Renata's wall sits in a high-yield savings account paying around 4%. Call it 4, which is roughly what they pay in 2026, which means her finished wall will quietly lay about 16 of its own bricks a year without her. The wall eventually hires itself. But how those accounts actually work, which ones are lying to you, and the compounding math underneath, that's the foundation under this foundation, and it's the one piece I'm deliberately not fitting into 18 minutes. So, an ordinary Tuesday and you want to start. 3 moves tonight. 1. Find your real survival number, the stripped, honest one, divided by 50, write your brick count down once and put the paper away. You are not allowed to look at it again. That's the ceiling working. 2. Set the automated payday brick before you sleep. $50, first transaction of the cycle. Willpower is spent by Friday afternoon, but a standing transfer has never once had a bad week. 3. Start your conversion list. Every subscription, fee, and forgotten drip you cancel from this day forward has a standing destination within 24 hours, no exceptions. And the full picture of where that wall should live and how it compounds, that breakdown is on this channel whenever you're ready. No urgency. Walls are patient. One last time, 7:14 on a Friday morning in Toledo. Coffee dripping. A woman moves $50 in the dark of her kitchen and tells no one, and now you know exactly what you're looking at. Not a payment, a tile, set level and true, with acres of finished floor behind it and a number she never thinks about somewhere far ahead. Somewhere across town, Paulette is drafting restart number 4 around another impressive number. 2 paychecks, 1 lunch break, 1 rule between them. You don't save a year, you lay a brick, and the best possible morning to lay your first one is the one you wake up to next.